Countries using MPH or KPH? Okay, so MPH versus KPH, right? It always struck me as odd. I was in Germany last July, driving a rental car, and seeing those KMH signs felt alien. Totally different than the good old MPH I'm used to back in Ohio. The rental was a VW Golf, about $35 a day, and the speedometer was in KPH. Took some getting used to. Pretty much everywhere outside the US and UK uses kilometers per hour. That's the global standard, apparently. Makes sense, given the metric system is used so widely. I remember a road trip across the US in 2019, seeing those familiar MPH signs everywhere. It's ingrained, you know? Hard to break habit. It's just the US and UK sticking with miles, I think. A bit odd, really. Makes international travel a little confusing. Definitely tripped me up in Germany.
Does the UK use MPH or KMH? The UK stubbornly clings to miles per hour, MPH, despite the global trend. Almost everywhere else, you'll find kilometers per hour, kmh, reigning supreme. It is a curiosity of culture, I guess. Europe largely standardized on KMH. The Commonwealth mostly followed suit, except for the UK. The UK's adherence to MPH is like a deeply ingrained aspect of its identity. Changing that involves cost. Consider the road signs across the country. A conversion effort would be significant, and of course it would be. Perhaps tradition outweighs practical consideration. Who am I to judge? After all, I still use Fahrenheit occasionally, even though Celsius makes way more sense. A bit ironic, really.
Does South Korea use MPH or KPH? South Korea? Kilometers, darling. Think K-dramas, not K-miles. Imagine trying to explain MPH to a K-pop star. Chaos. Utter chaos. Their perfectly sculpted eyebrows would furrow in confusion. Metric system reigns supreme. Like a tiny, efficient overlord. Kilometers. Kilometers for distance. Like how far you'd sprint for a BTS concert ticket. Meters, M, for shorter distances. Like the length of your bias's eyelashes. Exaggerating, obviously, but still. Kilometers per hour, kph, for speed. Cruising down Gangnam Style, but legally. I drove a little scooter thing in Busan once. Terrifying. All those kph signs whizzing by. Felt like a rocket. Okay, maybe not a rocket. More like a very fast snail. Still, kilometers. Definitely kilometers. My friend, bless her heart, kept asking about miles. I just pointed at the signs. See? Squiggly lines, numbers, no M for miles. She eventually got it. We celebrated with bibimbap. Because Korea and bibimbap is life. Okay, back to the topic. KPH. That's your answer. Locked in. Final answer. Don't overthink it.
Does Australia use MPH or KPH? Australia? KPH, mate. Like totally KPH. Ditched MPH faster than a dingo chasing a kangaroo on roller skates. 1974. Ancient history. Think bell bottoms and disco. Except for South Australia. Those rebels, 25 kph school zones. Throwing a wrench in the works, like adding pineapple to pizza. Controversial. Everything else? Multiples of 10. Easy peasy. Imagine trying to convert MPH to KPH in your head while driving. Brain explosion. Total chaos. KPH reigns supreme. Australia uses kilometers per hour. Metrication happened. 1st July 1974. Big day for rulers. South Australia's quirk, 25 kph school zones. Rebels. All other speed limits, multiples of 10, makes life simpler. Less math. My neighbor Barry, bless his heart, still talks about MPH. Old habits die hard. He once tried to convert a speed limit sign from kph to MPH while driving. Nearly drove into a koala. True story. Koalas are surprisingly fast when startled, like greased lightning, except, fluffier and cuter. Don't tell Barry I said that. He's got a thing about koalas. thinks they're plotting something. Long story.
What countries use miles instead of kilometers? Miles? Seriously? Those are like dinosaur units. Only 3 holdouts remain. The US, clinging to its freedom units like a kid to a sugary cereal. Liberia, probably because they haven't gotten the memo. And Myanmar, where they're probably using miles to measure the distance to the next delicious tea leaf salad. Key players in the mile-loving club? USA, land of the free, home of the miles? Yeah, we're weird. Liberia, maybe they're too busy with other stuff. Who knows? Myanmar, they've got better things to worry about than metric conversions, man. Why, this is hilarious. It's like using Roman numerals in 2024. It's as outdated as my grandma's rotary phone. They're swimming against a tide of metric awesomeness. My personal take, I once tried to explain miles to my cousin from France. He looked at me like it sprouted a second head. It was a scene. I'm still traumatized, honestly. It was worse than the time I accidentally used Celsius in a baking recipe. A true culinary catastrophe. My cake was ruined. Additional useless trivia. My neighbor's dog Fluffy prefers yards over meters. Don't ask me why. It's dog stuff. I don't understand. I stick to miles sometimes, sometimes kilometers. Whatever.
Does Europe use kilometer or miles? Okay, so Europe uses kilometers, except, well, the UK is a weirdo. We drive on the left and use miles. Total anarchy. It's officially metric. All supposed to be in kilometers. But road signs? Still miles. Speedos too. In MPH, even though, my car shows both. Most European countries use the metric system, so kilometers. The UK is an exception because, history, legacy, Roads are in miles, but most car dashboards show kmh. I think only the UK uses miles, and maybe some tiny island nations. My cousin's car is a 2024 model, and it shows both metrics, lol. It helps when I drive on the continent.
Does Germany use miles or kilometers? Kilometers. Late nights, thinking about driving. Germany, Autobahn, speed. It's all kilometers there. Always has been. Remember that trip in 2023? Rented a little Opel. So small compared to my Ford back in Manchester. The speedometer. All kilometers. It was disorienting. Took a while to get used to it. Didn't help I was jet-lagged. Thinking about distances. Berlin to Munich. So far. All those kilometers. Germany uses kilometers, Kilometer, for distance. Speed is measured in kilometers per hour, Kilometerstage, unlike the UK and the US, which use miles and miles per hour. Most of the world uses the metric system, including Germany. Even their fuel efficiency, litres per 100 kilometers. Never could quite wrap my head around that one. Always felt like a maths problem. My brother went in 2022. Same thing. Rented a VW Golf. All kilometers.
Is it MPH or KPH in Philippines? KPH, dude. Kilometers per hour. We're not some backwards horse and buggy nation clinging to outdated systems. Unless you're talking about my snail-paced commute, then it feels like MPH, maybe even furlongs per fortnight. Key takeaway? It's KPH. Get with the program. Here's the lowdown. Road signs, KPH, obviously. Unless a rogue sign has sprouted like a weed, in which case blame the LGU, local government unit. Speed limits, KPH, again. Duh. Grocery shopping, kilograms. I bought 5 kilos of mangoes last week. Delicious. A bit heavy to carry, though. Reminded me of my gym bag. Only the gym bag contains my gym clothes, which I never use. My car's speedometer, kph. It even says kph, not some cryptic code. Unlike my neighbor's cat's mood, which is completely indecipherable. The Philippines uses the metric system. It's not rocket science. It's simpler than deciding which flavor of ice cream to have at 2 a.m. Well, maybe not. Choosing ice cream is rocket science, I swear. This is official. I checked yesterday.